we're all on the edge of our seat for the city address tonight.
I kept it 10 minutes. That's all I'm talking.
Max, we got time that. I'm not 100% sure that's gonna make it.
I might do 12 minutes.
Whatever you need. Okay, first off, so I don't forget, our next meeting will be held at the fire department. Okay, so take one down there. Chief Dreyer invited us down, he was on me, and we'd like to have everybody there at 5. They're gonna give us a tour from like 5 to 5:25, and they'll have everything set up for us. And yeah, just,
Doors or
pardon me?
street door. I'm gonna go on the street side, we'll have that door shocked open where you walk right in.
Okay. Amy, can you get a hold of Tom Broadwater?
Yep.
Make sure that we got everything set up down there.
Yeah.
So we're able to live stream, and we're able to live stream it down there, so we should be good. Be a little different venue, but be good for all of us.
It's personal, all right, Rusty. They can park along Warren Street and then anywhere out back.
Chief Dreyer, just had a request for Firehouse Chili for dinner. You supplying that?
Well, it makes them, but they actually, you guys working, it would love to make it. We might have a little thing.
Okay, okay, so that'll be our next meeting. Like I said, if I'd like everybody to do the tour. See what it's about down there. Give everybody a different insight. Mayor, the other thing I want to let you know is myself, and I think all council members have taken those courses.
Okay.
So I know Councilman Christ should be getting his certificates emailed to him, so that will be all
Pretty
of us.
much everyone.
I think it's everybody. Then I think there are some dates, like I think when Councilwoman Turner goes off, where that certificate runs out.
Mhm.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, you're fine.
So everybody should have that certificate. I think you have it too, right? Chad?
I don't know.
For
I don't,
I took
GL
10.
cab. I think you do. I have to relook at it. Make sure, but I'm pretty sure about everybody has that.
Are you supposed to renew every so many years?
I think
took it when I
they
was
do
first
run
on.
out.
So I might-
And they are interesting. I mean, when you go through and look at some of that stuff,
Mhm.
it gives you a little insight on.
If you would, we got several today Bob had, and I had to make a file. If you guys want to give Bob a copy of any certificates you have, just say that, you know, if you do forget, that way we'll have something to look back on.
So, okay. All right. Ordinances, tonight we have 623, 723, and 923 need to be passed tonight. She's got the transfers and appropriations on 6 and 7. And then 9 is, you want to explain what that one is?
Yes,
Oh, 9,
last week, like week before last, we
9.
was showing the general contractor around for the new jail. And they were looking for a place for a construction trailer. And Max said, well, what about this? We have that old stone modular, and he said, that'll work, and we kind of got a price in mind and checked with Bob. We have to advertise that lease. But they'd like to use that for the general contractor in terms of going to the new jail. That would work well for them, generate a small amount of income. Well, once the lease is signed, they would be responsible for all the maintenance. That's what the lease terms will say.
Okay.
And the utilities. Well, we'll go get water and sewer as part of the lease, but all of the electric they will pay for.
Okay.
It's all baseboard and window air conditioning, so
Right.
they're gonna be on the hook for that.
Yeah, that's gonna be,
It's the old stone energies.
Yeah.
So they got nice big conference rooms they can use, and they have the update meetings and everything.
Smart.
It'll work out real well.
It's down there and make a little income off of it.
and then when they're all done, whatever area they've destroyed, they will grade and re-gravel.
Okay.
Probably the only slight negative, I already talked to one of the truck drivers, and he said it was he knew it was coming, is they won't be allowed to park there, because right now we've allowed semis to park in that area. But the thought is if they get geared up and have several hundred contractors, we're gonna have to have a place to park. And they know they can't restrict our access to any of our facilities, and they were okay with that.
Okay.
We'll look for an alternative on that too, because
They found some places, but they didn't want to spend $50 a month.
Or at least a building, it's okay. I'm sure it'll work out. Thanks, Dave. Then 8:23, just do the first reading, and on the second reading tonight, we have 4:23 and 5:23. Sherry, you have anything for the next meeting?
I do have a few things. I will have one additional appropriation. This will be, I would like to start out appropriating $4,744 to the city's share of unemployment. There was one health department employee who was not retained with the county health. And obviously, her right, she has filed for unemployment. 3 months is $6,744. We started the line item with $2,000. So I just thought, let's go ahead and get it funded for the next 3 months to, cover what we might need there. Then keeping with the health department too, I have a couple of transfers. $4,000 from the health director of nursing to health vital stats. They have their final December vital stat fees and so forth that they need to remit to the state. And then $4,000 from the health director of nursing to health medical supplies. They have some final vaccine bills that we have there that need to be taken care of. And Linda Jameson is going down throughout the week to get whatever remaining checks and bills paid and final reports and all that stuff done. So those are some things that she has come across that have needed to be done since the end of the year. So those 2 items for the agenda for next or in 2 weeks.
Okay.
One other thing I wanted to present to you, our lodging tax. We have the ordinance. That was, our lodging tax was established in 2006. And in 2018, it was amended that we would retain 5% and then the 95% goes to the Convention Bureau. Also, with the original ordinance, Section 5 is the tax funds under this ordinance shall be collected and distributed by the city, Coshocton City Auditor every calendar month for the preceding month's collections. I've had several people, we have Airbnbs popping up that they're not generating a whole lot of revenue. So like they have to come in every month and like 1 month it was $29.97. The other month it was $30. Here's another one's $34. County Auditor Chris Sykes, she had done this to the county and I received a copy of it. And like I said, I have been receiving a few requests, especially from one new entity. If we could consider changing that too. So I was thinking if somebody owes under $100 per month, that at the very least that those individuals, and I would send them a letter specific that they could remit quarterly. And I went ahead and I called Mindy Brems and asked if she was okay with their cash flow wise. And those smaller amounts, they're fine with it. Obviously with our Coshocton Village Inn and Suites, Motor Lodge, those we're gonna leave as is because there's $4,000 or $5,000 a month that come in 1,000-2,000. So we'll leave those on a monthly basis, but we would have to amend the ordinance, and I can get with Bob if you're in approval with that to change the allowance and come up with a dollar amount. But I think Chris went with the average of $50. And maybe like every 6 months. I just can't recall what was stated in her letter, but I just thought if you pay on average $100 a month, you can pay quarterly, file quarterly with me rather than every month. So if that's something you're and then I can get with Bob to work up the language and notify those specific entities.
So any entity is making $100 or less a month can do.
Not that they're making, but that their bed tax, there's
Bed tax.
3% that they collect and have to remit to us. If it's under $100 a month, you now will have the option to remit it to me quarterly.
Okay.
Rather than, sending, this one in particular, 73, there's 30,
Right.
30, $45. And, I have a few others. Here's one that owed $22.12. So if you're in agreement with that, or any other suggestions that you have, but
Makes sense to me. Are there any other things within the original ordinance that we would need to look at and change if we're making changes now?
the only other thing is just, we've already changed, but other than that, the language just, cites the higher revised code
Okay.
that we're following. So, but I can get with Bob, but I think that is, it just says for me that I have to, collect it and distribute it the following month. So I think that's the only section, but I feel like with having the amended ordinance in 18, maybe we can just do one whole new ordinance superseding any and just explain everything all out in one, but I'll get you whatever you think is right on that. If you guys. if
I
you're
don't
okay
have a
with it.
problem with that, but how do you keep track of that?
My staff does. We, simply, we have a form, a lodging tax form that they, do their calculation on. And, we have our spreadsheets that what they collect. So we have several years collection report on them.
Okay, so they will know that if they have a month where they make over or their share is over $100, will they automatically come to you, or will you have to notify them, or how is that?
No, they should, I'll have to craft my letter, to them that it makes it that they fully understand,
So do they register like a VRBO with the county then? Like say I want to make a house into a VRBO
Mhm.
and I use that service. Does that, how do you
Yeah, and if they
know
don't,
that I'm doing that, I guess?
and if they don't, they have been researching where they are. So it's Mindy's had a person within the CV.
So the VRBO remit them taxes to you? then?
No, it's the owner, it's the individual owner that remits those, because that money goes to them, so it's their responsibility,
I have a question on that. So if I have a Airbnb in the city, do I pay 3% city, 3% county? Okay, because
So
there
all the
has been,
hotels do.
with the Airbnb thing, there's more. Since there's more people doing it, it's kind of like opening a business here. A lot of times people just do it instead of like reaching out and saying, hey, how's it? And then that's the CVB actually has been researching, like just going online and getting properties and then matching them up with the GIS, with the county. So that's something that they have been doing. And that's something that I think needs to be said is if you have an Airbnb, VRBO, if you're short-term rental, there is a tax. Call the city, call the county and auditor and figure out what the process and how you need to remit that, because they have been watching that more, and that, to me, that benefits, that is a charge put on that benefits us from people coming here. So it's not specific to like, we're going to stay in Airbnb here. I'm not saying that's impossible, but as far as people coming in, it generates an income that all that income goes to marketing our county and our city. All the visitors bureau, basically, that's just money that is helping us bring more visitors in.
And that's why it was important to me to reach out to Mindy, even though those are, smaller amounts a month. But, I know, they have a limited budget, so I didn't want to do anything to hurt her. But, when I threw that out to her, she said, they would be fine with that. And if I, see of a place, I can tell you, there was one, I was, of all places, I was in Kids America and I saw a brochure for Airbnb and I was like, I don't have that one. So I just brought it back and I sent them a letter and I send them our forms and just, I send them a copy of the ordinance letting them know what they need to do.
No,
So
that's something
it's just
interesting
kinda,
for any of
you
you
know,
guys.
yeah, if you
that
know of
wanna
any of
come
them,
to
just let me know.
Yeah, or if you wanna come to CVB, there's a board that I'm on. It's so basically it's me and KOA, Woolly Pig, the Port Authority, the Chamber. It's actually a good, I mean, there's pretty much every entity in the room that has to deal with tourism and what we do here. And it's Tuesday mornings, like third Tuesday of the month and actually the hotel's on the board. So, our town's on the board, Lanny's on the board. So there's a lot of people in the room that are, and that's like something that just got brought up is here. They have a book with every property that's known, and then they have someone researching to look and notify people.
So I have a question, and I'm sure you have a great answer. How do we, like these Airbnbs, they pop up all over. How do we keep track?
Yeah,
How do you keep track? Not we, you. I mean, that's
people
gotta
are
be,
staying in them and,
How do
they're,
they-
okay,
how do you-
I had a client for a
I
week.
guess I'm asking.
I mean,
how
it's
honestly,
kind
right?
of it's
Hold on a
like.
second, guys.
Okay.
Let me get this answer. Try to answer it. Can you explain how we keep track of that?
I mean, well, for me, we try our best to know who the property owners are.
Right.
And then, like I said, I send them, the tax form and, with their requirements to remit daily. Now, I do not have any means to verify
Right.
how much they are collecting or charging, like the Village Inn and Suites. I'm not, obviously, I have to go by faith on what they're reporting
Right.
is correct.
Yeah.
But I have no way of,
If you
with
wanna
that.
if you wanna go sit by them, I'll tell you where they're at. We can get a bunch of.
No,
but
because
it's
I
kinda-
know
it is,
like
right.
Airbnbs have taken over like
They're
towns
everywhere.
like Port Clinton.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've lost a lot of revenue to Airbnb.
Right.
If anything, ours, we have picked up some bed and breakfast type places.
So
that
basically,
may
it's just an
do on
honesty thing,
Airbnb.
right? They're
It's like
just,
paying your
It's
taxes.
like,
I mean,
yeah,
who knows,
absolutely. Yeah.
unless.
I don't have
you're
anything
there,
to
right?
audit.
No,
Yeah,
there's
good
really
question.
no-
I
I
just
mean,
don't have
there's
anything
really-
to audit by.
So there's really no legislation established for these Airbnbs, is there? As far
Well,
as-
they're actually, and I don't know what process the state's in, a lot of places say like, we don't want them here. I mean, and,
Yeah.
so, and that's kind of, I think we had a conversation at one time here
Mhm.
on how we were gonna regulate. And the state is still, it's the state and they're taking their time.
Right.
But at some point, they're a double-edged sword because they cut into your actual rental.
right.
Like
it's
if
not.
someone wants to rent a house, then no, because we're renting an Airbnb. So it's helpful and hurtful, and it's just a trust thing. Hopefully, people are doing the right thing.
I have 7 new registered, and within the one, they are all under one group, but they have several
Properties, right?
properties, and I have actually commented about that, and they even file, one report. Cause they report everything under, their group, probably for their taxes and everything, but I don't have any way to verify, to how much did this bring in? How much did this one bring in? Did you rent this one or that one?
The
I
thing
just
that-
don't
The
have.
thing that I think that the property owners of the Airbnbs and short-term rentals should realize is the more that we make off that, the better off they are, because those dollars are going into marketing dollars for Convention and Visitors Bureau. So it's actually they are actually getting something out of that.
And they're very good if, because our report goes to the Bureau monthly also with their disbursement. And if they see people, we try to keep up, sending delinquent letters and so forth. We can assess, in the ordinance, a late fee that we could, it says we have to structure a late fee or non-payment, but we have never done that. I think the county actually has established a late fee with theirs. Mine, I just go, ours has always just been by the 15th of the following month. And, most everybody is very good at getting it in there. But, there's a few, I'm like, as long as I have it by the end of the month, then I'm fine with it. But, if somebody is very delinquent and not keeping up on theirs, I do believe that they get dropped from their advertisement. They're not being included in the books and so forth, because just for that reason, you're not contributing, this helps them. So if they're not doing it, then, they don't get included on the pages. That's how I've understood it.
Thanks.
So if you're in agreement with that, if I kind of draft something up
That's
with,
okay.
yeah. And it can take its course. I mean, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other ordinances coming up, Mayor?
I don't see any on my end, no.
Max?
None that we know about.
Okay, all right.
Mhm.
Thanks, Dave.
Huh? Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's got a couple on the burner. Okay. Did I mention that? I just gave you guys, this is not final, but if you guys want to, any committee, I put 4 people on a committee, and if you guys would like on a different committees or one that you think that you're going to be more beneficial, let me know and I can change some things around. I tried to make sure everybody was a chair of one. And then at our next meeting, I'll have a final copy. Just shoot me an email or whatever you want to do. I'm good with that. Okay. We have, anything with the housing, property maintenance, you good there? Infrastructure, Dave, you have anything for us?
Yeah, a couple of things additional. The trash ordinance going through its course, and it was actually in the old version of the trash contract. It says the trash contract is sole provider of services. So we have been sending for the last half dozen years, according to Abby, different accounts that want a waiver, from that service. Kimball said they'll continue to honor those through this year, but when we renew those in January, those will no longer be honored. That we will, we have some residential customers that do not want to use Kimball. We have historically sent those to Kimball. They approve them or not, but they're saying they're going to stop that process. So, because that was in the last contract, it said they're the sole provider of residential trash services. So that'll be a slight change. And once that's done, we will send them those, I think there's 28 accounts. We'll be sending those 28 accounts a letter saying Kimball's no longer going to honor this. We'll have to get trash services from Kimball.
Is there any way we could talk? I know most of those people have trash service at their business and that's why they.
Well, this is not commercial property. These are residentials.
No, I'm saying most of the people that I've dealt with in the past that have to fill out a form every year to say I don't want trash service. Which I'm like, this is pretty tedious process to say I have a business and I throw my trash away there, like.
Well, we've
Can
looked at
we-
most accounts are rentals. A lot of them.
Okay, so it's not like actual people that have trash
No,
service somewhere else.
it's
it's rentals.
residential, people that have had issues with Kimball in the past, stuff like that.
Okay.
The other one we had yes, sir.
I know they have recycle bins, but do they actually do the recycling?
I cannot.
I don't want to speak for them, but what I know about the business, a lot of it depends what the market's doing any given time. If China's in the market for recycle, then yes.
It depends on, right, it depends on what's up, what's down, it just.
Is it worth, they have to make a decision, is it worth doing it? Yes, they take it as recycle, but once they, there's times when they've had bales of paper stacked from here to Kingdom Come.
So do we pay extra for recycling?
It's in the base contract.
Yeah, it's in the base. Could we get a cheaper rate without recycling? Yes.
I'd say it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Because if they take it and don't recycle it, we're still paying for
Yeah.
recycling.
I don't know from the, the environmental side of the folks that live in town.
Using your
we might get
words,
beat up if we
it's a
don't do
tedious
recycling.
situation.
Yeah, but I
Well-
wonder if they would rather know and recycle, take their recyclables somewhere else versus if you care about recycling
I mean,
versus
yeah,
to think that you're doing it and
I
then
mean,
have it
that's
not
just
being
a-
done is even more
Yeah.
offensive, I think, than,
I mean, I'm just speaking what I
Right.
Yeah.
come out of the paper industry,
Sure.
how that works, and it's just dollars and cents. I mean,
Mhm.
you're not gonna settle on something that's costing you money, so.
I just wonder how many people actually want to recycle, that if you took that away as an option, like regardless of what happens at the end user's spot, like how many people want to recycle? And that's my whole thing.
I
is-
know one, I'm married to her.
yeah.
Right, I know too, so, yeah,
And it's,
yeah, so I think,
I think more people recycle than you.
Realize,
think.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And I'm thinking my sister lives, her rate from Kimball's is actually higher than this rate, and they don't have recycling.
no, and I was just at a solid waste meeting and they were asking me about, and actually I have, we send a report to Kimball every year. Actually, Bob Beaumont is completing that survey and I can show you on our end how many tons that we recycled. And we're one of a few places that actually has curbside recycling. A lot of people don't have the big totes, they have like small totes or they don't have anything at all,
Right.
or they have drop-off trailers like the
Right.
county does.
Yeah,
So
there's some people who
I'll
don't.
I'll get you that number at some point soon. I think actually has that done, so.
Okay. Thank you.
And the other, we had a request from one of the local civic organizations that wanted to put an insert into the water bill. Now, we have not allowed that for the last couple of years. And we don't have a policy. And I wanted to run it by this group. Do we want to go down that slope? And if so, how do we define who gets to put an insert into the water bill? Is it considered an endorsement by the city? I mean,
the only ones historically I remember is we've always done the football motorcycle.
And I
How
think
we
we
got
did,
tied into that, I don't know.
I
That
think
was
we
your
did
one
a
there.
rotary flag.
Right.
Yeah,
program.
very flags.
but since
So-
I've been at the utility office, we have not done it. So I don't know why it stopped or whatever. But I think if we do it, we ought to have a policy, so who gets in,
Right.
there is
that's
a
where-
cost to it, there's a lead time in it.
That's the thing with me is if you do. it
You gotta
for
be the
one
person to tell them no.
Right,
I mean, you're gonna have to, if somebody schedules an insert for February and somebody else wants one in February, you're gonna have to tell one of them
Yeah, we
no.
can, and like I say, is it only nonprofits, is it schools, and some of the nonprofits you don't want anyhow?
right. I mean, it could be.
Well, I'm
any-
just saying, you're going down a rabbit hole.
I think should be for city information and it's generated from.
From us, okay.
I think it's what we do, right? Like when Roger wants whatever.
That's my own opinion, but I wanted to bring it to this body to get their input, but my opinion should be city directed, either ordinances, newsletters, city news.
We're gonna make Mark go out and tell them no.
Yeah, that's it, we don't wanna have political ads in it,
Not Mayor Mark Schrock. He'll tell. Yeah. I won't tell him no. This Mark will though.
You guys are the voting council, but I just think you're going down a rabbit hole when you start letting
Well, and I
different
think,
people.
when I came into office, I think that was the one thing I said, just to be fair, I mean, I want to help organizations out, but you never know what's going to,
next.
what organization it's going to be. So to keep it fair,
Plus, we have that calendar.
right, right. So that's where I don't, whatever you guys' thoughts are.
Right.
What do you guys want to do?
I think city only.
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Okay,
I think that's a good approach.
okay. Is that all you have?
Can I ask a quick question? I was asked about on the detailed check report, Jack Duhaney, wireless headset. 3,416. Looks like it's probably distribution.
Yes,
Is that for,
that's
Can you
the
explain?
headset they use like when they're out there with the jet truck and jetting, so the guys can communicate, because you can't hear with the truck.
okay,
They work quite well actually for that.
okay. Just to ask what,
Yeah.
what those were.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the, we'll switch gears, and from the monthly report or anything?
Yeah, during the monthly report, that was one of my questions, but the other one was about missing fire hydrant.
We can't find it. But it is. So there's actually two fire hydrants on the list that we think are actually done. And chief's people are following up on those to see if it's just a duplicate and typo. And the other one is maybe missing. And see, we don't have them GIS yet, so where is it at?
That's also the problem of this going too long, is they get hit with a big mower, they're gone, they get grown over.
Yeah.
Now we're getting a measuring tape out more than 300 feet, looking there, so it is a project to
Right.
find one.
Yeah, but that's the last one.
It seems like on the report, there was a question mark, maybe it was a private.
Well, there is one there, that one that says on hold private at the end of 4th Street, which used to be inside the old Rock 10 site was a fire hydrant. But when Standard Power did all their work, you know, it was actually off of their system. So when that water got shut down, there was no water, so they took it out.
Okay.
Now, Chief and I we've been working with Standard Power. We need to put one back in that corner.
They told me they were going to when they took it out. So Standard Power told us they were gonna
Right.
put one in when they're done with their.
Okay, right. But that's why it got removed. It was actually off of the stone sprinkler loop. But that dead end 4th Street is mad. It's still actually the city right away. So it actually was a city hydrant.
And I think it's still off, correct me if I'm wrong, it's off that pit, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes,
It's still off at the pit.
yes. So we want to get this one ahead of that pit. And we know the plan is when the jail sprinkler loop gets put in, we can get one put in off of that loop.
So when they were doing their work, they asked me to move the hydrant.
What was the water was over, when we shut the water off, because the sprinkler loop went through the mill.
Yeah.
Because nobody knew where everything was at, that actually killed that hydrant. So they had no water to it, so since there was no water to it, they took it out, we was aware of that.
But is it our hydrant? Do they still have it?
You get the share.
You know, I don't know where it's at.
I don't know where it's
I
at.
don't know where it's at.
Did you get your?
Okay. I just wondered.
I
It's an old model
Probably in
hydrant.
the future, Tom,
You sent it to Glenn.
it's going to have to be an extreme case before I'm on board with anybody taking one.
Exactly.
It's gonna have to be an extreme case. That was a little bit because the construction they were doing, but it's gonna have to be an extreme case for any hydrant to ever be.
I would have thought we had that hydrant.
See, the stone, you know, being there since what, 18, whatever, that sprinkler loop was somewhat
Took
undefined.
care of all our
We actually had to go in and actually chop the line apart to isolate it completely. Because so many different tie-ins were made over the years.
Okay. So you think it was Stone's hydrant?
Stone.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Dave, can you add Jim Christ to your mailing list?
Yeah, I was want to add, but I didn't know his email address yet. I knew I needed to. Sorry about that, Jim.
No problem.
That's fine.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions for the utility report? How's are more people signing up for the Nahoco?
Yes, we're actually seeing a lot of people trying to use that service. We're seeing more people try to sign up for the payment plans to get off the, I'll call it red tag cycle, so. I think that's starting to make a dent. I think that's why the increase wasn't as large as I thought it would be. As I mentioned there, we filed 16 liens with the county auditor, you know, for some of the, I'll call it final debt accounts, you know, to get those when we've seen a couple payments come through, but we only see those every 6 months when we receive the taxes from the auditor. But I know at least 2 or 3 that have been paid. So,
How we doing on the meters, the new meters?
like I said, we got 50 some last month. I think we're probably already at 35, 40 this month already, so.
Anybody else? Okay, thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Have we have any updates on the summer program?
No. Hey, can we go back to the housing thing for a minute?
Absolutely.
No, the people parking in their front yards, is there anything on our books, Bob? Does that fall under nuisance or?
There's not a law on the
Unless
books.
they're junk cars, we have nothing on the book.
And there's probably nothing we can do about it, is there?
No, for people parking in their front yard on Cambridge.
You can write an ordinance, I mean, couldn't you?
I mean,
Yes, I mean, we.
Right. It's just, there's just a few in town that are just, they just look so bad.
We regulate
There's
people's
one-
property, so I mean, if they don't have proper siding, then they're in violation. So if you want to regulate them parking on their own property, yes. I suppose-
Yeah, see, that's, you know, that's then, yeah, their own property. That's just, that's it. Okay, I mean,
There's one on Sturt Edition, sometimes there's 4 cars parked out front.
right, you know, and it wouldn't be so bad if they put gravel down, you know, I'd be all for it. At least it'd look better than a mud hole.
Yeah.
But, yeah, okay, I wanted to bring it up and see what anybody thought about it. Plus the one down there on 7th Street, you know, they're pulling right out in the middle of the road.
I think Mark took care of that.
Did he?
Can you take care of that one?
They're not parking there anymore.
Good, appreciate it. I do want to say thanks for the getting stuff cleaned up too. The Klein place is, it's looking better.
We got rid of 15 cars in the last week.
That's good. Keep up the good work.
There's a couple more to go.
Yeah,
That's kind of where I was easing them in on cars.
Yeah,
So
that's
he's
good.
been, if you hear that on the radio, that's what he's.
Also on the-
Mayor is messed up.
That looks much better.
yes, it does.
I got, Greg Cranwood's coming to court next week. He's probably innocent.
Good. Appreciate it. Mayor, you have a report for us?
Yeah, well, I'll start out. I forgot about Firehouse Dining. I don't know if I mentioned that at the last council meeting. It's a show on True Blue Network and I think you have to buy it. The worst part about it is it's $4.99 for a month, but Coshocton Fire Department, it's about a 15-16 minute show. True Blue Network, if you go on, you have to subscribe. Like I said, I think it's $4.99 a month. I'm not a paid spokesperson for True Blue Network. Couple of, are they retired Cleveland, somewhere up
Yeah,
north there?
one just retired, one's been retired, but there's one from Cleveland, one from
Right.
another department up north.
Right, they start a show and they're going everywhere, across the country, I believe, and just going into firehouses and filming a show. It's episode 2. I think episode 1 was Columbus and we're episode 2. It was fun. It's a awesome production team. Chris Hansen actually is the partner in the True Blue Network from NBC. I actually got to FaceTime with Chris Hansen. It was a cool experience, and just super proud of I believe Zach Elson and Nick Harper were there and cooking and are on the show, and we have Les Johnson's featured in the show talking about being on the fire with Wilmer Hale and how he took over for Wilmer, and it was an overall awesome experience, and it was just super fun to be a part of. So we wanted to mention that. You mentioned chili, and they can cook some excellent chili. If I want a good meal, I go to the firehouse. My email, I'm sure everyone noticed, they got an email from me. Don't open it. Don't open any attachments. It got sent out. I want to say probably 1,000+ people somehow. I got an attachment that looked legit. I hit it, and I would be mad if anyone else did that. And I'm really mad at myself, but it happened. So working with Sync to tighten up two-factor authentication for my email, and maybe do it citywide. So looking into that. Don't open an email from last week from me. Just wanted everyone to know that. The beginning of March, I'm meeting with Sherrod Brown's representatives. Just talk, water projects, to Warsaw, to Conesville, to everywhere we're going or everywhere we want to go. Just development, the intel. just everything as a whole that we have going on here. RERC, the rural, the recreation for rural communities, the full plan, should be ready within a month. Every 2 weeks we're meeting, or are we meeting every 2 weeks or every week? Every 2 weeks on the Appalachian Steering Committee, for the Ohio Builds money. And I'm in preliminary, with, working maybe on a skate park or a pump track at the Heimball Park. There are people in the past that were working on that and have contacts, and I've had a couple meetings so far on that. Everything is dependent on funding, so we'll see where that goes. Hopefully the weather stays like it has been, because Public Works is now under 100 open work orders. So when I started 3 years ago, they're at about 480 work orders, and now they're under 100. So they continue to come in even as they get work done. So I know I saw a Facebook post that everyone was out working the other day, and so apparently when the city employees work, it's a waste of taxpayers' money, according to the person on social media. But I like to say that we're getting things done. And we're working, no left turn sign for 7th and Walnut is ordered. I was last week I visited Newcomerstown, they have a new administrative building that I went up and visited Mayor Cadle. If anyone's not met Mayor Cadle and Newcomerstown, I suggest reaching out. He's a great guy and done a lot of good things for Newcomerstown. So it's good that's right in behind Respecs, right there on Staten College, I believe. It's an awesome building, so I might have to find a building and redo it for myself like Mayor Cadle did. That's all I have. If anyone has any questions, I will answer them.
You mentioned two things. One was a skate park, and what was the second one?
A pump track. So pump track is just basically like hills. It would be something I think that would go around the skate park. So it'd kind of all be in one. It'd be like a 5,000 square foot. Yeah.
What's it used for?
Everything. A pump track, you can bicycle, you can skateboard, you can scooter, you can do anything on a pump track. And it's just would be a round track that goes up and down. So if you can't skateboard, Tom, you can at least ride your scooter around the pump track.
Yeah, I think I'm beyond that.
I figured you're a rollerblade guy, Tom.
Yeah, right.
No, you can rollerblade too. So it kind of serves.
I just wasn't familiar with that.
Multi-purposes, yep.
Mark, I had somebody ask me to pass along, they saw the updates, the fix to along the courts at the Hall Park, and they appreciate it and said how great it looked.
Yep,
So,
that was,
yeah,
Public Works did that. Oh, I thought I brought that
Totally
up
filled in
last
did ya?
council. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, filled in
It
the
looks
whole,
really
like
nice.
where the cork
Yeah.
dropped off and you could break your ankle.
well, and even the whole drainage.
Yeah, we are gonna work on, that was a work order that we've been waiting on. I think we need to do something along the court because there's a loose stone, and you know what happens with loose stones and kids and bikes and everyone. I noticed someone pulled in there. It wasn't bad, but I think once they pulled in there, they were like, oh, there is ductile pipe underneath that stone, so they're not gonna break anything other than their axle if they sink deep enough. So we are gonna do something along that, hopefully once it warms up with, I don't know if we're gonna tar that, we're gonna do something where the stone stays on.
Well, they
off
shared
that
how
court.
nice it
Yeah.
looked, so.
Yeah,
they appreciate
awesome.
it.
Yeah, and definitely no broken ankles there. I mean, and when we're the pickleball capital of the world, like we need that. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, the Pickleball Open, there is like 185 people registered for the Pickleball Coshocton Open Tournament, March 4th and 5th. And mass majority are all coming from out of town
Kids
and
America,
out of
yeah.
state. that they will be here for the tournament.
Yeah.
It's big time.
I guess.
Good times to be had in C-Town.
Uh-huh. Only good times to be had in C-Town.
I'll understand that game.
It's, and once you play it, I've only played it once, that's why, because I'm like, it's like, it's not ping pong, it's not tennis. It's not badminton, it's like, it's
But it's addictive.
pickleball, and it is fun. It
Anybody
is
else
it's
have
good
anything
fun
for the mayor?
exercise.
Max,
We're talking about that sign storm order, 7th wall, cemetery water lines, about 75% complete with that project. So we'll definitely have that in by the time people are worried about watering or anything around Memorial Day, so that's making good progress, which, like Mark mentioned, we've had, knock on wood, pretty good weather for winter. We did take the light down at Park and Walnut, so people's not confused. The new storm drain at 12th and Chestnut, there by Princess Dairy, or they call it Dairy Delight, or the new storm line in at Oak to 11th, drying that alley up, drying some yards up right along there. Don Street catch basins are done. Mark mentioned one of our 100 work orders. We done some, a good bit of improvements to Skyline Drive last week. Jim Miller called, like, no matter what for that. We did put some coal patch out today. We'll be continuing coal patching tomorrow. What we talked about, we done tomorrow is
Okay,
actually have on the list to get done.
thank you.
Still continued work on the Warsaw project. We got an ordinance tonight for that. And then I got the final email from Nature Works that we're good to spend that grant money that we received to put the rubberized mulch around all the playground up there. And then the handicap swing and the what is rope things like kids climb on a bank or. So still some more, we keep piecing away a little bit at Hall Park, so we're gonna pour some concrete to get over to the restroom area from the picnic pavilion. Of that nature, but we do a little bit every year. That really is our premier park, all right, so. Well, that's all I have, unless you guys have questions, or
What's the surveying on Browns Lane? Is that the sidewalk?
that's for that sidewalk, yeah. Yes, sir.
you're gonna put, sign that says three-way stop at Park and Walnut.
It'll probably say all way. It'll
All way.
say- I think all of them say all way now. I think he just ordered
We had
those
to
to
order
go.
that too,
Right.
we just have to keep a big supply.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're still planning on putting in that stop there at Third and Locust. Excuse me.
Then eventually Sycamore.
And then
yes.
Sycamore and Locust as well, and then investigating how that parking is, that line of sight, so weird in that area.
So Sheriff, when they do that, so nobody gets blasted when those signs go up, I mean, what kind of safety?
We put the traffic pattern changes out and then put it out on Facebook, you know, I mean, we try to make the announcement that put the signs out, traffic pattern change.
Because those signs will be like all the way, because that road's so wide.
No, it'll be,
Right? Or
so
are they gonna-
they'll be out into the road.
Into the road.
Yeah,
I was
it'll
gonna
be-
say.
It'll be,
Them roads used to have islands.
Yeah,
That's why those are so wide.
wide,
Right.
okay.
But I told Mark that, we
Yeah.
probably better off with having people park in the middle of the street like they do in Newark
Yeah,
and walk over, you would have a better line of sight than what you actually
Yeah.
have, but,
okay, so. they'll
those are
be out.
extremely wide.
yeah, and we're
streets.
gonna turn parking to parallel.
Okay,
And then they'll be out, like there'll be a line
Mhm.
drawn and then they'll be out.
When I was a kid, that was all
But then
parallel parking.
people, I said, put them in a huge post because if semis turn trash trucks, they'll hit them.
yeah,
So it will be, it'll be fun to see if what I said need to get done gets done, but that's how I want it done.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure that that's how it's going to get done. Yeah.
Anybody else have anything on Max?
Yeah. We talked a while back about that electric box up there by the deli. And you come out from Yucatan, you can't see down Cambridge Road. That's a railroad, you said.
Yeah.
Mhm.
make some inquiries to see, trying to get them to take anything out.
Yeah, I know.
It's very difficult. Back market, I was walking the tracks like a couple hobos today, I'm behind Jerry Butcher's veterinary. You don't appreciate how nice that railroad would actually be for a walking path. And, especially on a day like today, and, we'll make a nice path down through there. It's all level.
Eminent domain.
Yeah.
Steal it from them, take it.
Just pay you and go on with
They
it.
do. They don't use it.
Chief Dreher, you want to elaborate anything else on your, you emailed your, yearly fire report?
I did, thank you. The yearly report was emailed. I think I got everybody. Okay, thank you. Other than the numbers being way up like everybody else is, it was a challenging year, but we got through it with no major hiccups. If you guys have any questions about it, I think we were probably over 100 more calls than those previous years. So. And the fire loss is obvious. So it's way up, but it was the ethanol plant and insurance.
You want to mention the fire last Friday night that we had a loss of life on?
Yeah, unfortunately, we had a fatal fire on Locust Street. I'm sure you're all aware of it. Our guys did a great job. We had a separate call in the middle of that fire that we handled as well. So we always had 3 or 4 guys at the fire station, plus at least 3 trucks of full guys at the fire. We got mutual aid from a couple of departments, but it was about 7 degrees. And there's actually some photos online that Jim McKeever puts out, and also those can go through it next week at the firehouse. I got Jim queued up ready to go, just to kind of give you a little glance of what we were looking at when we pull up on something like that. So
Just being modest, it was miserable.
Jim McKeever does a wonderful job documenting it. Yeah, it's hard. It's, fighting fire is difficult anyway, but when it's 7 degrees out, it makes it even worse. So, guys did a great job. Appreciate it. Still undetermined at this point in time. We're still got fire marshal within the day, still trying to figure out what the cause was.
Do you have any questions for him? Sheriff, you have anything for us? I know you emailed the monthly report. Anybody have any questions for him?
A lot of traffic stops, I like that. I assume that doesn't mean a lot of citations, but, yeah. Observing some of the drivers in town, that's a really good thing, that you're making traffic stops.
A lot of friendly reminders.
Yeah.
You put me on your mailing list.
Yeah, we did, guys did get the flashing lights at the city school.
Yeah.
This year. Mark.
Give that.
Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah, we actually, our guys work with them.
Yeah.
We try to collaborate with them when they have an issue like that.
Right. Right.
Run better.
Yeah, it is nice up through there now. Good. Does anybody else have anything? We had a communication, something to think about. We had a communication about some property coming up, and it's a parcel on Locust Street. And I know we're not in the real estate business, but I think you guys have talked before about, does the city want this property so it doesn't end up in slumlord's hands and rental properties that aren't getting taken care of. So something to think about. We're gonna act on it.
It's on Locust, you say?
It's 604 Locust Street. So I think council talked about it before. I don't remember, since I've been on here for 2 years. I don't remember us talking about it, but if it's offered up for sale, do we just let it go? What do we want to do?
So it'll go, so what is it, second sale?
Under sale.
Okay, so what's the second one though? It'll go land, the land bank will have the option, like the city don't take, the land bank takes it. Is that where it's at in the process?
I'm not sure if the land bank has the option to do it or not.
Yeah,
604.
Think that they would.
yeah, 604 the corner.
Yes.
Is that corner lot, the empty one? Excuse me?
Should be Lindell's, isn't it?
That's what I was
Where the
thinking.
tree went through
Linda.
the
Yeah,
house?
that's what I was
That's what
thinking.
It should be the one, the tree, the
Lindell's,
house
yeah.
is gone, it should be a vacant lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a
My memory
lot.
serves me
Where
right.
all the
Yes.
tires were.
That's
Yeah.
what, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Red, white, and blue ones, yeah.
Yep.
It's a vacant lot.
It's a big-
It's a vacant,
We
it's
don't
a,
want it if
Yeah,
it's a
it's a
vacant
big
lot.
Okay. Where the Lindell's used to live, on the
Right.
corner. When the,
Yeah,
the
a
the
tree
tree
went through the
fell on the
house.
house. So there's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's just a
Okay.
lot.
There's
Okay. There's nothing without that.
Mhm.
I've got something, Tom, you're done.
So we go with that?
604, that's the First Baptist Church owns that. You said Locust, right?
Yeah.
The letter from the auditor says the owners were the Lindells.
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's 604, that's 604 max.
Yeah.
Locust, yeah.
That one there.
I was on the side of the street, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, Bob?
You're all familiar with Mr. Moon, who owns several properties in the downtown area. There's been a lot of discussion when Jeff Porter was here about the properties are vacant and why hasn't he registered those properties? So, and we've been through the excuses of how he gets around it. One of the ways he gets around it is to say the property is used for warehousing, which takes it out of our vacant property ordinance. So we started with the Peoples property, and Rusty and I got together and we had a citation issued to him for failure to have a sprinkler system in that building, which you're required to do if you're going to use it for warehousing. That went to the state fire marshal, who did they have a hearing? Anyway, they found that our citation was valid, which has forced Mr. Moon to now go to an attorney in Columbus, who has been in contact with me. As to the Peoples property, he's trying to fix the sprinkler system, and it looks like he's probably going to be able to do that at some expense to him. But the good news is, because he is forced to get to an attorney, I'm able to speak to somebody. And I made it very clear that this is just the first property that the city is upset with, and that there are others. And the attorney has explained that Mr. Moon is now in his 80s and is ready to get out of ownership in Coshocton County. So hopefully in the future, we're going to see movement on some of the other properties. It's Mr. Moon, so who knows? But if we don't get movement, Rusty and I will move forward to the next building.
Great. It's good news.
The other thing, there may or may not address litigation that's been pending with the local bank. Whether you do or don't, I'd like to go into executive session at the end of council meeting, just to go into a little further detail as to the outcome of that case. Yes.
We'll just do that and then I'll make a statement at a later date.
Okay, so at some point at the end of council, if somebody can make a motion to go into executive session and invite all of the administration.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Bob, is there anything, I mean, I know those buildings are listed by the auditor as retail buildings.
Talking about Mr. Moon's building.
Mhm. Yeah. So if you're using it as a warehouse, isn't that a different designation altogether?
For the auditor's purposes.
Well, for the building's purposes, I mean, I know what he's doing. He's putting stuff in there and he's saying I'm using it as a warehouse, and that's what a lot of them are doing. To me, a warehouse is something that an industry uses to store materials or products, not to store junk or anything. Maybe there's no different designation, but that, to me, it's just a sidestep. Maybe there's no way around that.
I think how the auditor designates it might have something to do with how much the taxes are. It's probably a higher tax value as a retail building than as a warehouse designation. Do you know anything about that, Russ?
No, the same thing would be with us, just long as the sprinkler system's up and running, you know, the location of a warehouse or retail shop doesn't make any difference to us. So he could have it on Main Street. It's no different to us if it was down on Sixth Street or somewhere. So as long as he meets the fire code, which he's attempting to do at this point in time,
Right.
then he can
Right.
do that. But I get your thought process there. It just doesn't, a warehouse
Well-
doesn't fit on Main Street.
Yeah, we've got a vacant building ordinance and there are no commercial buildings that are being assessed that because they've all found little windows that they can use. So as a result, we've got a few residential properties, but none of the commercial properties, which really was the target. So,
Would zoning make a difference?
pardon me?
Would zoning make a difference? Maybe a warehouse that's zoned
It'd still
retail?
be in the business.
Okay,
I think for auditors purpose, I think commercial is really what they go by, and then there's a subcategory of warehouse, retail, like industrial. I think that's where it's broken out. I think it's all commercial. It's either residential or commercial property. I think there's subcategories from that.
Yeah, I'm just frustrated. You know, I have been for quite a while on that whole process.
Tom, I think this is at least a step in the right direction, because now I know for a fact that it's costing him some money, some time, and he's having to turn the heat back on to keep the sprinkler up once it's fixed.
Mhm.
So that should get some emphasis on taking something with the profit, because it's now getting money out of his pocket, it's just not paying the taxes and letting it sit there. There's gonna be a heat bill, there's gonna be a bill in the sprinkler system, there's gonna be an inspection, so it might be a small step, but at least it's a step in the right direction.
I would think if he was to sell that building, he has to get that repaired
Yeah.
first, so.
Get it fixed up.
Well, that would be the biggest hurdle if you wanted to buy that building and you knew
Yeah,
going in that you'd have to put that money in. That would be the biggest hurdle.
yeah. It's like the white building in the 600 block there by the WTNS open lot. If, I don't know, I didn't see any place where he had a building permit on that. So that makes that a vacant building. And we farm that out, and it seems like all they go by is whether utilities are shut off. It seems like they ignore the commercial part of it, but
I can follow up on that thing and see where he's at, permitting.
yeah, if he's, and I saw he had a dumpster out there, so I know he's been doing some work on it. So if he gets a building permit, then he doesn't need to register as a vacant building.
Building was like,
The box building.
Is anything else? Okay, we convene in chambers, 7 o'clock, 6:33. regularly scheduled Coshocton City Council meeting. Call to order, clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews, here, Barcroft,
Here.
Gross,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Price,
Here.
Turner, here.
Like to have a motion to excuse Councilman Moore, please. So move. Awesome. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews, yes, Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Turner, yes.
You stand for the pledge and maintain for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you again for the opportunity to serve the city. We pray blessings on this meeting tonight and on the mayor as he gives us a state of the city. And we pray this in your name. Amen.
Council, your email the minutes from the January 23rd, 2023 council meeting. Any questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Andrews, yes, Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Price,
All abstains since I wasn't a member of council.
Turner, yes.
Rookie Christ, you can pull your microphone down, please. There you go. That way we can hear you. Before we go any further, I'd like to welcome Jim Christ to council. Will be a good addition for us. We have no additions to the agenda. Standing committee, down to the mayor's report. Council, before he gets his state of the city address, your email, the building permit summary, and his statement from the general fund. It's the permit report through January. Any questions or comments? The mayor? Okay, it's your time to shine. I think this might be one of the first times I've seen you without your hat on. You look.
I'm incognito. I got the Tom Mills hairstyle rocking. First, before I do my state of the city address, I just want to say I attended the sweetheart dance with one of my biggest sweethearts, Sherry Kirkpatrick, over the weekend. And I hope we're all dancing. The pavilion has been there 100 years. And I hope we're all dancing. I know we won't be dancing, but I hope there's a group of people and community dancing at the pavilion 100 years from now. So great time, great turnout. Friends of the Park should be very proud. I don't know how much they raised, but the community showed up. And I know the pharmacy sold a lot of ibuprofen the following day because there's some people dancing that I don't know. They were doing it though. So just want to say that and welcome Jim Christ. He's been to every meeting for the past couple of years, so now he gets paid for it. So thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
I just hope there's no yelling at this for all the millions that are here that no one at home can see. So. Okay, well, okay. All right, Mayor Mills' State of the City 2022. This is February 13th, 2020. Why did I say 2022? It's horrible. Oh no, this is my State of the Union for 2022. We are now in 2023. See how crazy things are here in this city. 2022, new to you. This year included introductions to new people, being exposed to new places, the formation of new partnerships, and it was a year of being open to new ideas. Greetings, President Hilgenberg and council members, welcome elected officials, co-workers, and my fellow citizens. Tonight, may we share and celebrate the many things that made the city of Coshocton a great place to live, work, and play in the year 2022. In addition to showing all of you my appreciation for what you do for our city, I would like to thank all the hardworking men and women that are beside me daily and share my vision of making Coshocton, Ohio, the best place to call home. Sherry Kirkpatrick in the auditor's office, Jackie Cushman in the tax office, Bob Skelton in the law director's office, Sheriff Crawford at the sheriff's office, and I cannot fail to thank all of my department heads and employees that really truly make the things happen in our city. Thank you for making my office look good and myself look good, but I really owe the world to all of those people. On behalf of the mayor's office, including myself, Safety Service Director Max Crown, and Executive Assistant Bob Beaumont, please accept these gracious thanks and know that we acknowledge and always appreciate everything you do for the greater good of the residents of Coshocton. I cannot fail to mention the people who helped me personally behind the scenes, Mom and Dad and Ginger. Once again, I could not have asked for a better support team. Thank you. Dom and Tripp, who are now juniors and seniors, we made it through another year. I hope you're as proud of me as I am to call you both my sons. New people. There's been a leadership change within the City of Coshocton Fire Department this year. Most notably, a new fire chief, Russell Dreher. That sounds too official. I like Rusty. Welcome, Chief. Andrew Akers became a new captain with our department, and the ranks received a couple new firefighters. Sadly, these men's promotions were not the headlines that got the most attention. A catastrophic fire at Grace United Methodist Church will always be remembered. However, Chief Dreher and his team fought that fire in such a well-organized and professional manner that they managed to save this structure so that can and is currently being rebuilt. Hopefully, we will never see a fire like that again in our lifetime. And may we all be thankful for the service that not only our city fire department and all other first responders and local volunteers provide to our community. It's amazing they do show up. New places. 2022 welcomed a variety of new businesses to our community. Restaurants, bars, medical offices, specialty stores, national chain stores are just a few of the types of businesses that felt Coshocton would be a great place to plant roots. Several well-established businesses grew to the point of relocating and or expanding within our city limits. I think Tiffany might have had a small hand in these. A few notable local business investments are McQueen Ductil's $45 million expansion and job creation investment and MFM Building Products $8 million investment and job creation and expansion, and Standard Power's multi-million-dollar investment at the former Rock 10 paper mill property. The medical industry is thriving in Coshocton as we continue to celebrate Coshocton Regional Medical Centers for being recognized as one of the top 100 hospitals in the country. Genesis Coshocton Medical Center invested tens of millions of dollars in a brand new facility near Airport Road, or just off Airport Road in 2022, and will soon open its doors for business this spring. The Coshocton County Commissioners, EMS, and Sheriff's Office should be recognized for the hard work of making their visions of a new EMS building and Justice Center a reality. The city is proud to be a partner of these projects and grateful for the taxpayers and the state of Ohio for their continued financial support. Roscoe and downtown, not new, but both are experiencing a renewed atmosphere. Our beloved White Woman Street has finally been paved, looks new, and couldn't have happened at a better time. There is not one empty storefront in the village. Entrepreneurship is alive and well in historic Roscoe Village. A couple of examples being Roscoe Barbecue Company and the expansion of Good Boy Bakery. Main Street and the downtown area are busier and busier each day. And the only reason I know this is because I handle parking complaints downtown. No, it's new life has been given to the Selby Building, thanks to the work of Laney Spalding and our town Coshocton. The Frew Building has never looked better in decades, thanks to the vision, blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of dollars of Paul Gilbert and Matt Parsons. Main Street is experiencing a much-needed resurgence of housing, short-term rentals, and an influx of new business from both in-town and out-of-town investors. The city thanks each business person investing in our downtown and Roscoe Village businesses, as well as their patrons and tenants. Bridging the topics of new places and new partnerships is the merger of the city and county health departments. To peek ahead a bit in this speech, it may even be considered a new idea. The successfully negotiated merger will save the city an estimated $2 million over the next 10 years. And it's exciting to watch from City Hall windows the new Coshocton Public Health District location taking shape in the old Hopewell Industries building. The governor and lieutenant governor each made visits to our city in 2022. After the creation of Ohio's new redistricting map, we have also met with all of our new state representation and many of their staff members. My administration is working to grow these partnerships on many levels. The citizens of Coshocton should feel a renewed confidence that our interests are being heard at the state level, and these visits are proof of that. New federal partnerships have developed in 2022, thanks to the in-depth cooperation of already established local partnerships, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the U.S. Forest Service, the Northern Border Regional Commission, and the Appalachian Regional Commission selected Coshocton as a community to receive planning assistance through the Recreation Economy for Rural Communities program. The City of Coshocton, the Coshocton County Chamber of Commerce, the Coshocton Port Authority, our town Coshocton, Coshocton Visitors Bureau, and many other organizations, local government officials, business leaders, and residents work together in a community workshop with these federal agencies to learn how to enhance outdoor recreation opportunities and strengthen our downtown. Not only did we learn how to utilize and promote our outdoor resources, but local organizations also unified as a team to benefit Coshocton for generations to come. A new partnership this year was established with Strategic Public Partners, SPP. The city administration opened itself up to a new idea of a municipality our size partnering with a firm that will represent our interests in government affairs, especially at the state level. SPP earned their keep in 2022 by aiding the city to receive over $100,000 from the Ohio capital budget, specifically sidewalk work to be done in Roscoe Village and repairs to the Selby building. The Dora is a success and will continue to be. Many doubters and critics came out of the woodwork during its creation, but once it was in place and working, some of them became fans of mine, especially during the summer concert series, which was an excellent time this summer. This scenario is played out many times while serving as your mayor. Many of my strongest opponents are now the very people who believe in me, work with me, and encourage me to be forward-thinking as their mayor. I welcome everyone to reach out to me and share concerns, visions, and thoughts about things my administration is doing right or wrong, or could and should be doing. I am your mayor. This is your city, and I want to make sure the things that have already started become reality during my next term. Before I conclude, allow me to share a few things that are on the horizon. Late last year, I joined the governor with many local officials at his residence for the announcement of a once-in-a-lifetime funding opportunity for the 32 Ohio Appalachian counties. We're slated to receive a portion of the allocated $500 million, which will potentially fund a downtown revitalization, including the ports project at the Collaborative, as well as our town's project at the Selby Building. Also in hopes of a development of a riverfront connection to our downtown. Other funding is actively being sought for demolition of 2 former glove factory buildings, Custom Glove and Ansel Edmond. The Warsaw Water Project is an ongoing venture and drawing closer to becoming a reality. And in continuing this similar type of growth, developing infrastructure to Conesville is being explored. My big wish always and will continue to be seeing the Carnegie Library as a vibrant, open community space for everyone to enjoy after the building has sat in neglect for almost 50 years. And as I've been known to say, stay tuned for that one. In closing, I know I've probably forgotten to give thanks to several organizations and individuals. It was not intentional, and I hope that I've always shown my sincere appreciation to everyone daily as we work for the betterment of the city of Coshocton. If I haven't, I am adding showing gratitude to my list of future goals this year. In the sense that many people may have not been mentioned in the State of the City address, nor have numerous projects, accomplishments, ideas, or even failures. Well, the failures were intentionally left out unapologetically. May I leave you with this, as they say on the locally famous WTNS trading post, the successes were too numerous to mention. And again, as I've personally said in the past, stay tuned. I look forward to sharing all the great things that are happening and will continue to happen in 2023, as well as asking for the opportunity of being your mayor again in 2024. Good night, fellow citizens. Be proud of what Coshocton was, is, and shall be.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Well done. And it was a productive year.
It was, I mean, there were
Great
so
job.
many things,
Cities-
like, how do you generalize like a bunch of great things? So I hope like no one's mad I missed something, so.
Yeah.
It's not like
Don't have to get
people
over it.
will be mad, is it?
Don't read social media, you'll be fine. Yeah, with that, we'll move on. We have any public input? Okay. Safety Director, Max, you have anything further?
I don't have anything further to add outside committee,
Yeah,
unless you guys have questions.
make sure you stay healthy.
Thank you.
Mark was under a lot of pressure last week.
I appreciate that.
Ball Director's report, Bob, you have anything to add?
I have nothing additional other than my request to go into executive session at the end of the meeting.
Gotcha. Thank you. Auditor's report, Sherry, you have anything further?
No, I had submitted to you, February 1st, all your January items. Those, if you have any questions, if not, they need to be approved in the minutes.
Do you have any questions? Need a motion to accept the auditor's report? Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrew? Yes. Barcroft?
Yes.
Gross?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Price?
Yes.
Turner? Yes.
Sheriff's report, Sheriff Crawford, you have anything to add?
No, sir.
Your report? Sir. Deputy Shrock, you have anything to property code? Glad to see you're up and busy. It's a good thing. So, love it. Dave, you have anything to add from the utilities?
Nothing additional, unless there's a question.
Okay. Chief Dreyer, you have anything to add?
No, sir, thank you.
Appreciate the report you emailed us.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Thank you. Council, you also emailed the tax report. Jackie's not here, but her email, if you have any questions, ask her. That, clerk, do you have any other reports or anything for us? Not, go ahead to legislation. First reading. I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 823.
An ordinance accepting the contract between the city of Coshocton and the village of Warsaw for the city to assume ownership over the village's water and distribution assets, water lines, and to provide water to the village, and authorizing the safety service director to sign said contract.
For the first reading of ordinance 823, any questions or comments? Ordinance 823 will take its course. I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 623.
Transfer,
For the first reading of ordinance 623, any questions or comments?
make a motion to suspend the rules and go directly to the third reading.
Second. Call the roll, please.
Andrews. Yes. Barcroft.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Turner. Yes.
Clerk, please give the third reading of ordinance 6-23.
Transfer,
Questions or comments? Question is, should ordinance 623 pass? Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews. Yes. Barcroft.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Turner. Yes.
Ordinance 623 is passed. First reading, I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 723.
Appropriation,
For the first reading of ordinance 723, any questions or comments? Make a motion to suspend the rules and give it, go to the third. reading.
second.
Call the roll, please.
Andrews. Yes. Barcroft.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Turner. Yes.
Clerk, please give a third reading of ordinance 723.
Appropriation,
Questions or comments? Question is, should 7-23 pass? Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews. Yes. Barcroft.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Turner. Yes.
Ordinance 723 is passed. So the first reading, I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 923.
Ordinance authorizing the service director to prepare specifications, advertise the bid for leasing 504 North Third Street, Coshocton, Ohio, and sign all contracts.
Any questions or comments?
Make a motion, we suspend the rules and go directly to the third reading.
I'll second. Call the roll, please.
Andrews. Yes. Barcroft.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Clerk, please give the third reading of ordinance 923.
An ordinance authorizing the service director to prepare specifications, advertise the bid for leasing 504 North Third Street, Coshocton, Ohio, and sign all contracts.
Question is, should ordinance 9-23 pass? Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews. Yes. Barcroft.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 923 is passed. Legislation at second reading. I'll ask the clerk to give the second reading of ordinance 423.
An ordinance vacating one platted alley being 0.43 acres situated in the city of Coshocton, Coshocton County, Ohio.
Heard the second reading of ordinance 423. Any questions or comments?
I have a comment. Have you gotten any calls about this alley? Nothing.
Okay.
Other than.
Okay. Ordinance 423 will take its course. Second reading. Ask the clerk to give the second reading of ordinance 523.
An ordinance establishing trash rates and authorizing the service director to sign the contract extension with Kimball Companies.
For the second reading of ordinance 523, any questions or comments? Ordinance 523 will take its course. There's no third reading, no resolutions, no old business, any new business?
We got a letter from the clerk of courts for a sale of property at 604 Locust Street.
I don't think we're going to act on that.
And you also should have received municipal courts reports.
Okay, we'll go ahead and announce our next meeting before we adjourn into make a motion to adjourn into executive session. What's the date and time of our next meeting?
So February 27th, it will be at the fire station, 5 o'clock for a 2 or 5:30 committee meeting.
Gotcha. I need a motion to enter into executive session to discuss pending litigation and like to invite all city administration.
So
Second. Barcroft, call the roll, please.
Andrews. Yes. Barcroft.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Yes.
So. Okay, go to the executive session.
Okay.
I'm actually lifted in the judge. You know what?
Okay, I'll see you.
You know.